which just for you, for your this one, what I will tell is, entity object, it's nothing but table. And the second one, this are all, see, in Oracle business service is built using what, friends? Business components. Remember the terms. And next is we have entity object, and next is view object. I think you may be knowing it, Vijaya. What is it?
I mean, whatever data we are getting, it's like view in database we use.
See, I just call it as an SQL query. It's an SQL query. And the next one, what we have is application module. So you want to execute this query, you require a container. What is that container? Container for SQL objects. So now you cannot call it as SQL anymore. So we will be using only these concepts. If I tell you entity object, you have to map it to table in your mind. If I tell view object, you have to map it. Yeah, it's an SQL query, nothing else. And if I tell application module, it's nothing but collection of view objects. Next, application module also provides some transaction controls. I'll tell you, very important test down the line we will see it. I think you may be knowing what are the transaction controls. It is commit and rollback. It will provide this. So it is for an application module. Each application module will have one commit and one rollback. See, if application module has got 10 view objects, this application module, how many commit and rollback it will have? Only one commit and rollback it will have. We will see down the line, you will come to know why is it like that. Because I told you transaction is atomic. All the operations should get executed or else it should get rollback. For example, in a shopping cart application, you are implementing, if you take an online shopping cart application, in that one what happens? First you register the customer and then you take the billing information. Next you take the credit card information. First customer details, billing information, credit card details. If debit card details is the debit card details. Next what you will do? You will give the review screen telling that, boss, see, you have entered this customer details, you have entered this credit card details, debit card details. Do you think everything is fine? Shall I save it? So if it tells save, you commit to the database. If it tells cancel, what you will do? You will roll back. Now here, when you are saving it, what you have to do? You have to save all the information. You have to save customer details, you have to save credit card details, you have to save billing details, debit card details, then you have to save it. It's not that if you save it, only billing credit card details will get saved, but other details are not getting saved. So that's what I call it as a transaction, because this three different business, in the business flow, you have three different details. If commit happens, all the details should get committed, or else it should not be committed at all. It should be rolled back. That's what I call it as transaction as atomic. So one application module can have multiple view objects. Now here in this case, what happens is very important concept, friends. This application module have one query on customer, one query on billing information details, one query, one view object on credit card details, one view object on debit card details. So, but when you complete this application module as a one, it should get. So that's what transaction, we will see it. Don't worry now, just understand what it is. So application module can have multiple view object, and commit and rollback is for one application module. Only one commit and rollback for one application module. And the next one, what we will see is
every view object should be assigned to application module.
Not required. We will see it. We will see it. See, the first one, what we have seen is, I'll just take today what we will do is, we will do preferences. We have seen how to create entity object, view object, application module. Now you guys have to tell me before preferences. I'll tell you because you are getting struck up. See friends, I'll be using only 2 tables. This is, make a note of it, for complete application. And at last you will have one project also. You have to complete that project. I can give the project specification, but it's your responsibility to complete it. See, I can't be doing everything. I'll show you the thing how to do it, but you have to complete the project at last. That indicates that you have successfully completed. See, 2 tables we'll be using for our complete. See, as I told you, I want to make it the session, I want to make it very simple. I don't want to take it to the highest complexity level. I'll make it so simple. The reason is it is easier. See, at last you are going back, you should get something out of this training. I can be a Shakespeare, making sure that you don't understand anything. So taking complex tables, complex this one, I can be a Shakespeare. But after attending training, how much is that you are getting back? You go back and you are working on the projects, or you came here, what is that you got it? So for that reason, what I am taking is I am taking simple tables. So I'll be taking only 2 tables. But if you take this Oracle, they take some concept. It's around hundreds of tables will be there. They'll take some 2 tables. They don't have any relationship also. They will tell you add this, you add this, you add this. But you will not think what is happening. You just go with the process. You're not thinking what is happening, but just, okay, this step, do, this step, do, this step, do. So it will not be like that. So what I am doing is, for this complete application, I'll use only 2 tables, employees and departments. The reason is you guys know this employees and department table. And the project that what you will have at last is, you will have telephone management systems. So this you have to develop it using the concepts that what we use it here. Okay, so now do you have these tables, employees and departments? You don't have. What I will do, I will send the schema. First one, please give your email IDs, friends. D dot yeah. Okay. You created ADF itself.
Yeah.
Okay. YNB 579 at gmail.com. I will send you some textbooks also and books links also. Just go through. But as I told you, none of the books are interactive. So you can refer it. I don't know if you understand, it's good. So come before the session, going through the book, come. If you understand, good. If you don't understand also, it's fine. But I am just telling you upfront itself, books are not that much interactive. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll send the details. So today's my task is, let me add it in the beginning itself. Facilitators responsibility, send schema for employee and departments table, share documentation, around some 13 MB documentation is there, ADF documentation plus some few books. I prefer, I'll give the books to you. I prefer, don't refer it because you will get If you refer it, what happens? You will get worried. This much is there in ADF. So don't refer it. So you come to the class, and at the end what you do is refer the books. You will come to know that whether I know this concept, whether I know this concept, whether I know this concept or not. So fine. So this share ADF documentation plus few books with the participants. I'll give it tomorrow. Okay. So this I will do it today itself. If possible, I'll give it today. Okay. So now preferences. So we will see today's class. What we will see is we will set the preferences. But before doing it, see, now tell me the steps. What you need to do when you are creating a new project. What you need to do in ADF. You have undergone. First, you need to have database. Without database, you cannot do it. Database schema should be there. That is, employees and departments table should be there. Then afterwards, what you will do? You will build. What you will build? Entity object. Why you build entity object? Because the table is in relational model, and when you are getting the table into the middleware, it will become object oriented. This complete middleware is object oriented. So that's the reason this ADF is object oriented. So what you will do, you will get the table from database to the middleware. Database is relational model. Here it will become object oriented. We will see that. And next is, after that, what you have to do? View object. And view object, what it will do? Acts on entity object, because now in the middleware entity object is table. And next one, what you have to do? Application module. These are the steps you need to do. One application module, it is what you have to do? Add view object. You have to register view object in the application module, because application module is the container for view objects. Now this is done. Next, I told you ADF provides, JDeveloper provides, without building the UI, you want to test this application module. How you can test? Run. Okay, what is it called as? It's called as model tester. Please remember the terms, friends. Model tester without building the UI. Sometimes what happens, it's like it's not mandatory that you guys have to build the UI. You can check the UI without, you can check the business service without creating the UI. So that is done by using this model tester. Most of the times in the projects, see, the person who is building the database will not know how the UI will be. So how to test it? So here we have, so you can easily test the business service that what you are building. Now you guys have to tell me, first thing what you do is, before doing anything, you have to set the preferences. There will be two things, friends. First I will show it, next I will ask you. You have to tell me the steps for it. Okay, those steps I'll give it to you for reference. Now what are preferences, friends? Is when you build an application project, you will have thousands of entity objects, thousands of view object, thousands of application modules, but everything will be there in one package, one directory. And for the developer, it will become a nightmare to identify what are view objects, what are entity objects, what are application module. It will become a nightmare. And we saw this, okay, it will become a nightmare. So you don't want that one to happen. So JDeveloper, you have one beautiful feature that is called as setting preferences. So what it will do is, setting preferences, it will segregate your business components. For example, entity objects will go to one folder, View objects will go to one folder. Application module will go to another folder. Next, in the project, real-time project, you have to use some naming conventions. This is for easy readability. See, one is, there are two things in package. One is package conventions or naming. Okay. And next is business object naming conventions. Package conventions or naming. What is this package conventions or naming? I told you now. You create an entity object, automatically it should go to entity folder. Is it okay, Deepa? If you create a view object, it should go to view folder. Application module, it should go to the application module folder. How to do it automatically? I have set it already. That's the reason. See, first what I will do is, let me go to my tools, preferences. Don't worry, I'll show it to you. Application modules, base classes, let it go. See, this is where object naming, I'll remove everything. See here. Friends, this is a very important concept, prefixes. Don't worry now, I have already said I am removing it. Okay. See here, what I have said is, I'll show it to you. For entity, I have said entity package, association, association package, view link, view object, view package, view link, view links package, application module, module package. And when you see here my object naming, you have EVO, association it is ASSOC. You have to tell me next time, I'll create now. VO, VL and AM. Is it okay? So this is the naming convention. For business object, entity object should end with EVO. View objects should end with VO. Next one is application module should end with AM. Okay. And next, associations. Association is also a business object. It should end with ASSOC. View links should end with VL. So that is what which is there here. Packages you can see here. Packages segregation. I'll tell you what it is. Now what I will do, I'll erase all these things. I'll show you how it will work. By default, I have set this packages, and now the next one is after packages, it is object naming. See here, I will create a new Fusion application. No, I have not set any packages. Application Fusion ADF. I'll call class 4 demo 1 theory on preferences. I told you application is composed of projects. Vichya, do you know this?
I mean the directory structure like
Not directory structure.
view and server.
Yes. See, what happens is, as you know, once again, I am just repeating it. When you create an application project here, there are two things. One is business service and other one is, I told you, when you create an Fusion application, you will get two things. What are that, friends? You create a Fusion web applications. By default, you will get two projects. What are the two projects? One is model, where your business service means business components will be present, and the second one is view controller, where your UI plus controller objects will be present. Your application is a combination of projects. If you take an application, it's a combination of projects. As I discussed, when you are building an ADF application, first you have to build the pizza base. Pizza base is nothing but business components. Only when you have built the business components, and the next set is UI. First thing, build the pizza base. So here you have model. Model is business components project, and view controller is UI plus controller object will be present. Now, is it fine, Deepa? Now see here, what is my application name? I'm creating an Fusion web application. As you know, ADF is used for what, friends? ADF is used for building web and desktop apps, but we are seeing only web apps. Okay, so I'm creating a Fusion web application, and it is telling me the directory, okay, where this application will be there, so that you can refer it. This is the directory where all the files related to this will be present. I'll click here, application package prefix. Should you want to give anything, leave it blank, or else you can give it as your company names. You can call it as cisco.com or com.cisco. It's left to you. What you want, you can give it. Now I don't want anything. Any questions? Now, next, what is the project name? I told you, you will get two projects. One is the model and another one is the view controller. So now this is the model, this is the directory. This model, what you can include? I told you, you can include business components. Don't select this. By default, these are all the features of this project. Even though you select, don't select, these are all the features of this project. Click next. Now see here, model, and by default it is telling this is my model package. Bossy, this is my model package. All the files related to this model will be present in this source path. Classes will be present in this file, because by default it's a, once again what happens internally, it's a Java file. So once you are running, you will get classes file, it will be present here. Next one, project 2. What is project 2? View controller. What is view controller? UI and controller objects. You can see here, these are all the features you can include in that. I told you, how do you develop UI? HTML and CSS. But here in ADF you don't use HTML and CSS. You use something called as ADF faces. But you know, all the systems should give backward compatibility, right? If you are using ADF, that does not indicate that you have to use only ADF. ADF will give the power, but you need to have even backward compatibility also. You should be able to develop in HTML and CSS also. That's the reason you are getting it. JavaScript, JSP, it will support everything. JSP servlets, XML, everything. These are all features. Don't select anything. By default, view controller project will have all these features. Even though you select also, double click, nothing will happen. It's just telling. These are all the features it has got. Next one, project settings. For view, it is telling this is the view package, Java source path, output directory. I just leave it. I'll finish. Now you can see here, this is my application. This is your first assignment, friends. Today you have to create a web application. Now next one, how to create entity object. So go to ADF business components. Next, I want to create entity object. Entity object, click OK. It is asking me the connection because database, where is my data? Ford Fusion, test the connection, success. Okay, this is my connection. Now what I am creating? Entity object. Where the data is present? Data source. This is my entity object. What name you want to give entity object name? What name you want? I'll give it as employees evo because it should end with evo. But if you set the preferences, automatically it will give. Instead of end, I'll show it to you. Don't select this extends entity property set. This is your data source. You have to tell it what is your schema object. I'll browse and see here auto query will be there. You have to select this auto query. See here, nothing is there now, right? When you start, you will get nothing. Next, what you have to do, you have to give auto query. Auto query what? What you want in this? I want tables. Automatically it will give. You have to select this. Next, on which one it is? It is based on employees. Click next. How many attributes? See in the table, this many attributes is there. In the entity also you want all these attributes? Yes. I discussed this. If you want, you can remove it. If you want, you can remove some of the attributes. I don't want commission. I can remove it. You want to add? You can add. That is transient. We will see it. New from table, you can see only commission is left out. I will add that. Next, friends, attribute settings. Forget now. As of now, Java. Do you want to generate Java file? No. Summary. It is giving the summary. This is my entity object related to employees. This I have done it, friends. I'll not do it once again. Now you got entity object. Now if I create view object, now I am telling you the preferences part, why it is important. If I create view object, name, now what is my, see here the name view obj it is coming. I'll call it as, now I have to create the SQL query, employees vivo. It is based on entity object. I have to select, see here, this is the entity object in my project, available entity objects. You created only one, so only one is present. If you created 10 entity objects, you will get 10. So now I am telling that this should be, I want a query based on this entity objects, view object. Select this entity usage. It is giving it as employees evo. Just wait. Tools, preferences, object naming, packages. Okay. View object. Okay, so it is employees vivo. I'm adding this. Is it updatable? Forget this, we will see it later. Entity usage, employees evo. Now see here, the first one. What is the package it is going to by default? I'm creating now, what I'm creating now? right click here, new, view object. So what is that I am creating now? View object. I'm calling it as employees VO. But which package it is going? Model. By default it is going to the same package, everything. Now next, add this one. I want in my query all this attribute settings. Forget this one now. As of now, I told you when you create a view object, automatically it will select the query, bind variables, nothing, Java, application module, summary. I have told you how to read this summary. Now I'll tell, no tell. Let me finish it. So you have created EO, VO. How to create application module? Amar, you have to tell. This one. Okay. So it is going to the same model you can see here. So I'll call it as app module. Let it be app module am suffix with data model. See here I have to tell application module is a container of view objects. This many view objects I have. I will move it to this application module. So now you can see here this application module, it is referring to that view object as emp view1. Application module is a collection of view objects. There are no other nested application models you are not going for, so leave it empty. I have told you. Java, do you want to generate? Summary, yes, finish. Now to run this application module, run. Okay, to run, double click on this. This is the form format. You can do which, or else what you can do, you can see it in table format. Now tell me friends, did we set the preferences now? I have not set preferences, so everything is coming into the model project. So this is 3, fine friends, but if you have hundreds of these things in one package, how do you feel? And I have felt it, the problem in the project, we used to do everything, then what happened, it's like we used to do something like this, refactor. What is that one? It's a Vivo object for thousands of files. After creating, first I never used to bother. After creating, you have hundreds, thousands of files, EVO, Vivo. Then I used to do refactor like this. You have options like this, see, refactor, move to what? I want to, this one to is a Vivo, so I'll call it as view package. It's not exist, do you want to create? Okay, so now you can see here my view got moved to this package, and I want to move this entity object. What I will do, I will move this one to model dot entity, that is for refactoring. It moved, and this application module refactor, move it to model dot app, or I'll tell model dot, or it's left to you, module, your naming convention, this one, but we'll put it as module or app modules. Okay. Now see here friends, you have different package structures, view, entity. So always it's better, instead of doing this crude method that what I did it now, it takes time. In your projects is always better. First what you do package segregations using preferences, set the naming conventions also. Is it okay? Now how to set the naming conventions, I have told you, go to preferences. I'm telling you step by step. packages. Entity should go to which one, friends? Entity package. Association to association package. View object to view. View link to VL, or you give it as view link, so that it will automatically move whenever you are creating it. No need to refactor and move it. Application module to AM, or I'll call it as, sorry, app module. So this is segregation for packages, segregation for business components packages. Next one is, go to the object naming. What is the suffix for entity? EVO. Domain nothing. Association it is ASSOC. View object it is VO. View link it is VL. Application module it is AM. Click OK. Now you have done the segregation. Now what I will do, let me save all. Now see here, I'll create new. If you want to create all the business components at one shot, which option you have to use? I discussed this. If you want to create, say now you are creating entity object 1, view object 1, application module 1, you are doing 3 times. If you want to create all the objects at one shot, what you have to do is, you have to use this business components from table, click OK. First it is telling me what is the entity object. Now see here, it is directly going to model.appModel.entity. But what is the package we have set? Tools, preferences, packages, it is entity. I'll do one thing. Let me close this one because it's not getting reflected. So let me have a new application once again. New. Now for your reference, I am creating it many, so that you will not get confused. I'll call it as, let it be some preferences part 2, or class 4 demo 1 preferences part 2. Same thing, finish it. Now I want to create a new Fusion application. I want to create. Okay, I'll call this one as, sorry, business objects. I need to create new business components from table, connection for Fusion. For new application it is asking, because I created new application once again. For existing it will not ask. Okay, okay. Now see here, Amar, previously what was happening? Model.appModule.entity. So once you set the preferences, it will not work in that project. It will work for next project. Some problem, I can't do it. That's the JDeveloper one. So first what you do, set the preferences, close it, start a new project and work on that. This is what. So always it's better first you set the preference, then it will exist throughout your JDeveloper. Whenever you are using JDeveloper, these preferences will exist. You need not set for every new application. Is it okay? Now see here, I am creating. Now the next one, what we are doing is creating business components at one shot. What are business components? Entity object. Now I will tell you, there are some things. View objects, next application module, next view links, we saw it in the day one, please remember. Next is associations. Now in this case, I told you by default you are getting model.entity package, and you are getting see a named filter. Auto filter, please always give it as on. Auto filter, give it as on so that it will take it. Next one, employees. Take employees. You are creating now. I'll create two entity objects at one shot. Is it okay? Previously I created one entity object. Now in the business components, I'm telling two entity objects at one shot, two view objects at one shot, and these two view objects should go to the application module at one shot. So this is employees. Next is departments. See here, EVO. If you added employees, automatically what is the suffix? Because you did in the preferences. Automatically suffix EVO. Next, what are the view objects you want? You created two entity objects. Now what view objects you want? Both I want. I am telling on this you create view objects. Query based view objects are what? They are read only view objects. Do you remember what is read only view objects or not? I'll not do it, friends. Okay. Now I'll leave it this one, query based view objects. Application module, it is asking me, do you want to add the view objects to application module? I'll select yes. Then this application module will be added to this app module. Click next. It is asking me, do you want to generate business component diagram? I'll select yes. I'll show you what is that business component diagram. Now next, finish. Now see the beauty. You set the preferences, leave this part. Now see here, how many packages you have. Forget the diagram. All business components you got, it is beautifully segregated. See, two view objects I created. Employees view, departments view. It's there in this view. It's there in the entity. Association. Did we create association? No. That is different. We will see later what is association. Association, it got automatically created. Don't worry about that now. Next is app module. Did we created? Now you see the segregation. See the model. Model is the base package. Okay. Now next one is view links. You see, you have view links. And next is business component diagram. This is business component diagrams. I told you if you want to refer this, you can refer it. How it will be. Now if you see here, this is my entity object. It's not my table. Deepa, what it is? Why it is telling integer employees number, ename string, job string? Why, Deepa? Entity object is nothing but table, right? But it is calling integer string, you can see here. Because it has become an object. It's no more a table. That's the reason. You can see this is the entity object and this is the department entity object. There is a relationship. We will see that one. That is called as association. We will see. Don't worry now. Just know this diagram now. This is entity object. This is view object. And this is your application module. So if you have hundreds of entity object, view object, application module, you don't know in an application, you created it, but how to see the architecture of it? What are the entity object, what relationships it has got, what are the view objects, what relationships it has got, my application module, how many view objects it has got, how to see it. So it provides this facility, business components diagram. Friends, any questions on preferences? Now today what we have seen is two important things. Now this session 1, class 4, session 1, we have seen two things. One is preferences and the second one is creation of business components in one shot. Any questions on this? Now I'll wind this theory part. Now it will take the hands-on for your reference.